This episode of the Nerdball Podcast is brought to you by the 2026 NBA Finals. Not really, but I'm so excited. I don't know if people know enough about me, or if you're new to this, I am a gigantic Spurs fan. So I am super excited about this. By the time you're listening to this, hopefully it's going well. That'd be awesome if they swept the Knicks and they win. But as I am recording this right now, it is a half hour before the start of Game 1. And I'm super pumped to watch this game. I've waited, not as long as some people, but I've waited, 12 years since the last championship, which doesn't seem like a lot of years because it isn't. But I also was reminiscing, since they're playing the Knicks, the first time they won the championship was against the Knicks in 1999. My dad, his friend Bob, and myself were at a bar in Toledo called Arnie's Sports Bar. It had little bar tables that you would sit at, and these tiny little boxes that you could tune whatever. It had a bunch of TVs, and you could tune whatever TV you wanted to hear, and the sound would come out of this tiny box. I think some B-Dubs has that, and some other restaurants have it. But as an 8th grader, this was the coolest place to be. My dad would always take me there. We'd watch Cleveland Indians at the time. We watched their playoff games. We watched this 1999 title run for the Spurs. And now I get to watch another title run with my 8th grader and my dad. My family went over to my parents' house and we watched Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals when they beat Oklahoma City. And it was so much fun, so much cheering, so much hugging at the end. And now we're here, the finals. Like I said, by the time this is coming out, they would have played 4 games, so we'll see where we're at. But right now, Game 1, I'm excited. A lot of nostalgia. Excited to be cheering on the Spurs with my family and my son and everybody. So thank you to the NBA Finals for sponsoring this episode. This is episode 301. If you knew that I recorded this, you would be anticipating this episode very, very much like my good friend George. It is an episode with my dad. We go over 2 hours, but it was a great podcast. We talk a lot about him growing up, being a kid, working in the farm fields with his family, moving to Ohio when he was 15, dating my mom, marrying her, going through trials and tribulations with my brother and my mother, and then ultimately ending the podcast talking about my brother who passed away almost 6 years ago. Or no, it was almost 6 years ago in September. So it was a great episode. Again, 2 hours, over 2 hours of content, and my dad's great. My dad was awesome. I'm glad my kids and I have this audio and video for forever until the internet explodes and we don't have it anymore. So thank you to all of you always for interacting. I gained 5 YouTube subscribers this week, so that was good. We're almost close to 300. Or we're almost at 300, I should say. We are close to 300. So keep doing that. Keep following, keep liking, keep sharing, keep doing all that. Thank you for everything you always do for the podcast and for me. And I hope you enjoy this episode.
Soy Eliseo Melchor y esto es the Nerdball Podcast.
This is the Nerdball Podcast with Lorenzo Melchor.
Awesome. Thanks, Dad, for coming on my podcast.
No problem. About time you asked me. I think this is episode 300?
No, a little over 300.
Oh, yeah. Man, it's even worse.
Well, thanks to you and Mom and Martina for letting me use the basement too all the time for the podcast.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I mean, it's the least I can do. I fathered you. Oh, so the rumor is.
Yeah. Well, some of the time, and then until you had to work, until Mom made you work for a shift. And then.
Yeah. Then I really had to father you.
Well, I will start with every other, like how I start every other podcast, is what is something you nerd out about? What's something even if it's something you've been doing for a while or something recently, but something that I usually say like gets you away from your daily job, but you're retired. So
hey, that's my job. Being retired.
Being retired.
Yeah. No, I had thought about it because I know that you ask everybody that, and I thought really everything does. You know how how I always talk, every day's the best day of my life. You know,
Yeah.
this minute is the best minute of my life, but it's only going to be for a minute. You know why? Because the next minute's going to be the best minute of my life. But I thought that's pretty general.
Yeah.
But I'll go to something that I've really liked for a long time. Well, when I graduated, I actually from high school, all through high school, actually, I wanted to be an attorney. And that's when I went to a BG fall of '76. I actually went into pre-law. For the whole semester I was there. But until General Motors called me, because the big money and all, and I have been poor my whole life, so it kind of drew me away. But I've never forgotten, or I've never gotten away from that interest. I've actually gone and watched some trials and stuff.
Yeah.
Not lately, but I'm still interested. I always read about, all the court cases right now going on with Trump and all that, and the decisions and the appeals, and I actually read some of the decisions. Of course, I don't read them all, but I like the part where they explain their reasoning why they judged it one way or the other. I don't go into it all because it starts to get into the technicalities of the laws itself. That's why some decisions are like 80 pages long. You know. But I enjoy all that. I actually like going to jury duty.
We talked about this because I want to experience it. I've never done it, and I want to experience it.
That's actually the only way, besides going and watching a trial, that's the only way that I can really be involved in something that I really like, So I really want to get on jury duty. I've been called 5 times to go and report. The first 2 times were in Toledo. The second time, I actually made it to the trial and I went. But it was interesting and all, but it was about somebody owed somebody money and they wanted to get paid, so they had to go to court.
Maybe like a murder case or something?
Yeah, it wasn't a murder case or anything. But I actually got called 3 times, in a relatively short amount of time here at Wood County. And by the 3rd time, it's something about a little felony that was in my past, but we won't go into that.
At least not right now.
Yeah. Maybe on episode 600 when you have me on again. But that 3rd time really stung, I really want to get on, especially because at first, when you get there, there's a whole group of people, like 40 people, in 2 smaller rooms. And they come in the door, and it was the same time every 3 times. They so-and-so, like 3 or 4 people every time. And I'm one of them. And they call me out, they talk to me, what is little felony here? Damn, they're going to send me home again, but it was kind of like, wait, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
But when I went to court for the aforementioned felony, and I had to call it that because I was convicted, I thought, well, I'm gonna. The judge at the time, said, well, after 5 years, if you behave yourself and everything, everything is cool. I'll expunge it. But I kind of didn't do it. I was still working and everything. A felony doesn't hurt somebody working for General Motors. Hell, you could kill your supervisor 30 years later. They still got your job for you. So, but this started affecting something that I really liked. So I went and I got an attorney, and I went to court to get it expunged, and the attorney spoke for me and everything. And he mentioned that one of the reasons that I wanted it expunged was because I wanted to be on jury duty. And he said judge things, and then he said, tell me about this jury duty thing, And at the time, there's a bunch of people in there, and there's the guys in the orange jumpsuits behind me and everything, and I felt compelled to rush, because they had a lot of stuff to do and everything. So I kind of gave him a short version, but this is the long version that I'm going to tell you that I wish I would have said instead, because he was a real nice guy. I don't remember his name right now, I actually even thought about going to visit him and telling him, because he paid respect to my mom and dad for how how I spoke and what I told him, But at first, it's important to me because at first you go out of civic duty, you know, and but secondly, if you get picked, like I got picked one time, I felt this rush, this overwhelming rush of responsibility, because the justice system is such a big deal to me. You know, in the world, it's like the most perfect imperfect system, or the most imperfect perfect system for what it's built for. You know, there is nothing better. With all its flaws, there's nothing better.
What do you like about it? So let's start like when you were going to go to school to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, what was your draw to be a lawyer? And obviously that's carried on to 50 years later, you know?
Yeah.
Like what was it?
Because I actually was interested in it to begin with, but I also wanted to go back to my hometown and help some people, like put up my shingle and you know, get paid in chickens or whatever, you know, like a bad movie.
Sure.
I was a kid. I would definitely want money. You know?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, back in what strikes me about it. Back in the early 80s, I think, where there was a movie with Paul Newman called The Verdict.
Okay.
And in that movie, he says, the justice system doesn't give you justice. It gives you the opportunity for justice. And I consider myself like 1/12 of my fellow citizens' opportunity for justice. You know, I haven't done it, but it could mean the rest of his life, or it could mean, you know, I'm actually 1/12 of his opportunity, and he's only, you know, that's how I look at it. It's really important to me, so that's how I take it, and that's why but overall, it's because that's the only way I can be involved in something that I really love, you know.
How do you feel? Because clearly, I mean, you mentioned that there is flaws and that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
How do you feel when it is skewed like very heavily, and not everywhere, but in some places? If you're a minority,
Yeah.
it's just not for you sometimes.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like baseball, you know. The other team's got a real good pitcher, and your pitcher sucks, and that's just how it plays out, you know. Because you can afford $1,000, the other guy can afford $50,000 for his attorney. That's one of the flaws, and that's just the way that it plays out. Those are some of the flaws, you know. Besides that, you know, it could be somebody on the jury that lied when they answered the questionnaire. It could be any sort of things, you know. It could be something as simple as you don't have good clothes, you know, and you show up, or you're whatever, you know. That actually, the judge, whether consciously or unconsciously, that affects it too, you know. It's like church, you know. They used to say there is no perfect church. You know, why? Because there's people in it, you know. And the court system is just so many people involved in the whole process, you know. Sooner or later, there's a weak link.
I talked to Coach Hall when he was on, and he went to school. He got his bachelor's, then he was going to go be a lawyer, and he stopped. He stopped like a semester in, or after a semester. He's like, I don't know if I can do this. He's like, why? He's like, well, if you have all the money, then you're going to win. He goes, it's no fair. Like it's what's the point, you know, on some of this stuff.
But you'd be surprised because it seems complicated for people, you know. But the more I watch it, like not on movies and stuff, because that's always like, bang, you get this thing. Oh, he's innocent.
Yeah.
But like in the real thing, the expensive lawyers sound just like the lawyers you didn't pay a lot for.
Yeah.
It just comes down to it's not even guilt or innocence, I hate to say, but it's what you can prove or convince the jury of. So if you're a good cheap lawyer, you can be and a bad expensive one. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
If everything, I don't want to say balances out, but it's different than you think. Some of the questions they ask sound kind of normal, or I don't want to say stupid, but they sound so normal.
Like why? Like that question should sound more expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, but they ask it sounds the same. You know, so I mean, who knows?
I mean, obviously, I'm I knew you went to school for a semester, and I think it's cool that we both went to BG for a semester, and then we left. Well, I was asked to leave, but
Okay, that's a little worse. But let's agree from now on, whenever we talk about it, that we went to school. We went to college. Stop it there.
eventually I got my degree.
Hey, yeah,
It's
you
hanging up.
did.
It's hanging up by your seat.
I'm proud of it, too.
I remember when I was recording out of my garage, I had my diploma just hanging up in my garage next to my forklift operator license that I got, and I interviewed some student athletes that I had, and they looked up, and they go, "Your diploma's just out here next to your forklift license?" I'm like, I mean, yes, it's cool. It doesn't really yes, it means something because I graduated from college, but it's just whatever. Go away.
Well, first of all, that's your first forklift certificate. You've never had another one.
Yeah.
One before that. So, hey. Now, if there was a second and third because you crashed or something, that one I wouldn't put up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about where you grew up.
Hey, can I say something?
You can say whatever you want.
I feel funny looking at your eyes so much. I don't think I've ever looked at anybody's eyes so much. So once in a while, I'm going to look away.
You don't have to look at yeah.
Okay.
It's okay.
I'll talk like this.
No.
Anyway.
All right. So you grew up in a super tiny town. Well, at one point it was a bustling town until I-10 came through there.
Yeah.
What is your earliest memory of living in Waelder?
Earliest memory?
Yeah.
Of just anything?
Yeah.
I really don't remember earlier than, like when I was 10, I got a pop gun,
Mm-hmm.
It's just little flashes. That's it for 10 years old. And I got little flashes of my favorite teacher, Mrs. Stolting, from my ninth, when I was 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I got a little flash of third grade when I got my glasses. Remember I told you that I was amazed how good you could see. I thought everybody could see like that. But it's mostly about my family because we didn't have a lot, but we were really close. And there was a ton of us.
Yeah.
I like to say the joke that my dad would, there was 11 of us. My dad would bring 10 oranges home and just sit back and be entertained by it, But
I've told that joke on stage.
Have you really?
Yeah.
We were really close, especially when you work together, whether it was picking tomatoes or whether it was hoeing beets, especially when we were older, teenagers, whatever. All summer, you're just on the farm. My dad didn't like to take the TV because we were going to stay up late and we had to work, and so we ended up with records and just talking to each other. And to this day, we all tell, well, the guys not so much. I do, but my brothers don't, But we always tell each other now that we love each other, and we always, I try to stay more in contact and stuff, and that's. The earliest memories were just hanging out and what we ate. Sometimes, like my mom would. I told you, I think, my mom would make rice and chicken for supper. What do we have? Rice and chicken, and then we just have rice and beans. What happened to the chicken? Oh, it flew away.
Yeah.
But it's all good memories now. At the time, it's we got to go to work. Especially when it's cold in the morning and the beets have huge leaves. And early in the morning, we might have to wait a little bit so it got light. And the leaves are all full of water, You walk in it, you get all wet from the waist down, and just remember, that's awful for a kid, But
when did you start working in the fields?
we actually, I don't know if I call it working, but we were out there, all the time. Since we were little, the older ones might watch the other ones, but they might be in the truck or whatever. Or when you're 6, you're walking around picking a few tomatoes. But we're there. There was no babysitting at home or anything, So I'd have to say, when I remember, it was around 6 years old. But that's when I was walking around being a 6-year-old. That was when my dad needed a driver because he had something to do, when they were loading the truck. And he basically said in Spanish, "Get your butt up here." Go over there. Here's what, just don't touch the brake. Just use the clutch and just keep it straight, And when I think about it, I did it, I did it and I was successful. I didn't hurt anybody.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was boxes, wooden boxes where they put the tomatoes. And they were like 10 inches tall, so they stacked them real high. So if I jerked it or anything, my brothers were in the back. They would all fallen back on people and stuff, and that was about. My dad didn't think twice about it. He just threw me out there.
Why'd he pick you?
Well, my brothers were busy. The girls are picking. My brothers were loading. Plus a couple other guys, and I was kind of the only one left. I don't think he thought, "Oh, this guy looks like a good driver." I don't think so.
Do you you talked about like this at some point you're like, "Oh, this sucks," or "This is terrible," or whatever, and you talk about it now as like good memories. It's with your family, and
it's just
right?
positive. Yeah.
So I'm sure at some point growing up, or maybe most of your life, you didn't talk about it to anybody, especially like when you're in high school or anything. Like, was it did you talk about it at all with anybody?
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. We actually, when we were there, we actually just say what I thought. But I kind of wanted to go uptown because I wanted to buy some treats or whatever, or I wanted to be in town for a little bit. But not during work. Like, if stop at the grocery store on the way home or something. I didn't like doing that because we were dressed like, like you're working in the fields, I remember my sister wore the only shoes they had for her to work in were like 4 sizes too big, and she was so embarrassed to go into the store. And my dad would say, "Come on, we're going to go get some groceries." And we'd wait in the truck. I go, "Man, I'm glad that's not me."
Did you have like, obviously it was all our family. When you guys would work, were there other like families around, or was it like, well, this is where we're working and this is where somebody else is working? Or?
Yeah, in Wyoming, no, not so much. When we worked over there, you were on your farm, you didn't see anybody else. There wasn't as much tillable land either because there's a river going through, and it only goes out so much because they irrigate everything. The canals here. And on this side, it's all green. On that side, it's like desert practically, sagebrush and cactus and rattlesnakes, So it wasn't a real big area. So there wasn't a lot of people that went to work over there. Not like here in Northwest Ohio, around Hamler and all that. There was a ton of people because for miles, it was just crops. So there was all kinds of people. They had us in camps, little houses all together over in Wyoming where they give you a house. Or one time we actually had an apartment in town,
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you guys treated like by the who you were working for? Were you guys treated nice and fairly? And
in Wyoming, besides the first year that we went to Wyoming, I think I was 9 or 10. That farmer wasn't, I don't want to say nice, but he was crooked. And when it came to pay, because everything keeps adding up, and then at the end, we square up, and my dad, he was lying on the size of the fields because they would pay us by the acre. And he was lying. And my dad used to be a farmer. My dad, one of his many occupations was a farmer. They had a 97-acre vegetable farm at one time that was theirs. He rigged this thing up with pieces of wood, like a triangle, and then he went out to the fields and he walked with that triangle, moving it, like this, and measured everything. And he caught the guy, and he called the field man, because there was a field man that was kind of like, was in charge of the farmers and the workers to make sure that they worked well together and there wasn't any problems. So he ratted them out to him, and that guy got in trouble and everything, and he paid us what we were due. But after that, all the farmers were real nice, and the places where we stayed were decent, Unlike here, everybody was nice because we came so many years in a row, and everybody knew everybody, and we had relatives around there. But where we stayed was pretty bad, in those camps and that, yeah.
And there's nothing. I mean, there's not really anything you can do about it. Like there's no one to be like, "Hey, guy, complain to somebody and be like, this is terrible."
No, we had uncles and aunts that had regular houses that lived here, that worked here and stuff, but they're not going to tell 12 people, "Hey, you can move in with us,"
Or how do you choose? Like, "Hey, we'll take 2 of you."
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was. Sometimes you could see through the walls, So obviously there was no insulation and stuff. But
did you only go here and Wyoming, or are those the only places you guys went?
Yes, I did. But I think 1 year after I stopped going, because everybody, once they got to a certain age, they either went to school or they got a job and didn't go anymore. The year after I didn't go anymore, I think my dad took him out to California one time, around Bakersfield. But I didn't go to that.
How did Papa find out, like, oh, this is where they need people?
They got connections, all the Mexicans with each other, they talk. Some of them are crew leaders. They actually, what's the word? They recruit people.
Okay.
So, you call this guy and he knows one of the recruiters, and they actually tell you where to go because they need people. They make people out. They make money off of you too.
Okay.
And they tell you where to go and who to talk to, and they get you a place to live and all that. Yeah.
Did you, when you decided, like, I'm done, I'm out of here? Was it
Man.
was it hard? Because knowing you're leaving, like, I would imagine when you decided to leave when you were 15, right?
Right.
And when you decided to leave, your one of my uncles is already gone. I would imagine. Were you the oldest at the time that was working? Or were there still a couple older than you?
I was. My sister was still there. She's like a year and a half older than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were one of the oldest ones, and now you're leaving. But then, is it how it was set up? Was it a big deal? Like, hey, I'm leaving, and you guys are gonna have to figure it out. Or was it like, hey, there's so many of us, we'll be okay as far as like making money and having enough hands and people working and that kind of stuff?
No, you just absorb it. It was never talked about. It's kind of like when everybody was being born, we got another worker. Oh, we got another one. We got another one. There was at one time, I think the most we had was 8 people working at one time, going to the same pot. And so at the other end, it works the opposite, and you just absorb it. Besides that, the times that we worked, when my dad was in his 20s and he started coming with my aunts and uncles, and his mom and dad, they worked here for 9 months, from planting to harvest.
Okay.
And by the time I stopped going, it might have been 12 weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, but you could make a ton of money still. In 12 weeks, I think my dad would bring home maybe $12,000.
Okay.
In those 12 weeks, that he brought home after expenses.
Yeah.
So it was still working out for him. But I actually wanted to come up here when I was 15, and I didn't think that my dad was going to let me. Because I think about you when you were 15. If you would have wanted to go to Texas, let's say, the other way, ain't no way I would have let you go. You weren't even working in the fields or anything for me, making money for me. There ain't no way I was going to let you go. I didn't want you to leave,
Yeah.
18 or 19, I wouldn't have been able to stop you. But something started to happen to me, because I was a real good student, always on the honor roll and everything. Towards the end of my freshman year, like the last 3 or 4 months, I got together with my second cousin, Frankie Martinez, and he was like a little partier. I didn't know nothing about it, but I kind of rode in his 69 Mustang, and we went around and he said, you want to smoke? No, sure, why not? Okay, well, I'll start you off with Marlboros. So he got me cigarettes. You want a drink? Sure,
Okay, just like that.
And we got some slits, man, for like 3 or 4 months. We partied quite a bit. and I was just turned 15.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about like 3 times a week, minimum 4. And we'd be driving out in the country, and he'd like be so drunk he'd just go out the road. Watch this, sliding in the dirt on the side of the road. We would stop to go to the restroom, and I had to go over there and look for him. He's rolling around in the weeds, that bad.
God, dang.
I just mentioned him, but I was the same way, you know. And I think after that last time that I came home drunk, my dad chased me down the road, He even caught me too. But
You're so fast, though.
yeah.
I guess not when you're not drunk, though.
Yeah. When I'm running like a monarch butterfly flies. But I think he never mentioned it, we never did, but I think that's what convinced him, hey, he wants to go up there, I'm going to let him go up there,
Because of what's happening right now in this time.
Yeah. And he kind of trusted me also because I was going to stay with Conde, and Conde was kind of at the time the same way, what I was doing. But for some reason, when I got here, I became real responsible again, and I did everything I was supposed to. I was on the honor roll again, and I graduated, and honor society and everything, and I was on my own. But I think it just got knocked into me. I can't count on my brother, so I think it's all me, and I don't want to be getting in trouble because then what? You know?
There's only 2 of you, and he's not doing very good right now.
Yeah, and also it wasn't a clean cut there because after school was out, when I was going to school here, it's time to go home because we got to go work in the fields. So I still went to work until I was 18.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the last year actually we didn't go anywhere that year. When I graduated high school. That summer, I worked in a muffler factory there in Texas.
Okay.
Welding the end pieces on them. Mm-hmm. And it was hot as hell. And I thought, man, I'm glad I'm leaving here a little bit. That's when I was going to come back and go to BG,
Okay.
And I remember I used to make $107 a week. And I would send your mother $50, to save for me. And I would give my dad $50. And I would have $7 for the week. That bought me the gas to get back and forth to work, too.
Wait, why were you sending mom money?
To save it for me.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Dang, what if she was just like, look at all this money and just...
No.
just spending money?
Not then, anyway. No? That was later.
Oh, okay. So what was it about, like, I'm going to... Like, when you were 15, you're like, I want to get out of here.
Because of that lawyer thing, because I wanted to go to school. The school there was hit and miss with the teachers. There was teachers that cared a lot and they wanted you to learn, but there was other teachers that you go into their class, sit down, and go to the library or stay there, but don't bother me.
Oh, really?
And we just sat in there, and he was doing whatever he was doing. Yeah. And I wanted to learn. I wanted to be somebody. Yeah.
Were Amon and Bob both born in Mexico?
No.
Were they both born in Texas?
Yes, they were.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Both of them were.
But Grandma and Grandpa, were they born in Mexico? Mom's parents?
Her dad was born in Texas. Her mom was born in Mexico.
Okay. All right.
She didn't come over until she was like 14 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never asked, and then just my whole life it's just been they're from Mexico. I didn't know.
Yeah. No.
So were there like your great grandparents then? Were they from Mexico, or were they all here already too?
I
guess your grandparents.
My grandparents, they both came about the same time. I heard the story that they actually saw each other, I guess. I don't want to even say met because you might not even talk to her, but on a train. But they both came about the same time. I think it was, I want to say my grandfather was like 19, I think, when he came from Mexico. It was during the Revolution, thereabouts.
Okay.
That's actually why they came, and my grandmother was the same thing, and they kind of saw each other in the train, and they were going to the same area, and he kind of sought her out and, stalked her or something. I don't know.
Were your grandparents around? Did you see your grandparents?
Yeah, but I had one of those grandmothers. I loved them both,
Yeah.
but my mom's mom was like real strict. Like she had a lot of Indian in her, or she was Indian, almost 100%. I know my great-grandfather was. And we go over there, and she wasn't like real touchy-feely kind of grandmother,
Yeah.
I'm sure she loved us. I like to think that. But there was also an aunt there, one of my mom's sisters. She was a registered nurse, and when we go over there, she would scold us or tell us what to do, or, so we didn't go over there that much. That was on the other side of Waelder. But right next door was my mom's grandma and grandpa, and we had a path. We'd go over there. Sometimes I'd go over there 5 minutes, talk to them, and then come back. But it was a daily thing. We were over there a lot. We were really close to them, Eliseo and Josefa. Yeah.
That is I don't know about you, but whenever we go visit the cemetery in Waelder,
Yeah.
and it is a trippy thing to see my own name on a headstone.
Oh, yeah.
I think about that. We visited a cemetery last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that guy was actually, I want to say your great uncle or somebody, your great grandfather. Actually, the Indian dude I was telling you about, your great great grandfather was named Lorenzo.
Okay, all right.
And then there was another, one of my great aunts was married to another Lorenzo, but my brother that passed when he was a baby was named after my great grandfather, and I named you after my brother.
Got it.
And the brothers here in Hamler.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But when I took you guys there, I should have researched it a little bit and pointed out, okay, this is your great grandfather. This is it. I kind of went there and I kind of, where is everybody? But they're all there. A bunch of Melchores, but I didn't know exactly where. They're a pile on top of each other, like you saw.
Yeah.
And then a Mexican cemetery, they got like all these flowers and all these. There's all kinds of stuff there. And I just showed you the ones I knew, which wasn't that many,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's and we've talked about it before, where I sent you pictures of like Mateo's name or Melchor in a program or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and how it makes you feel and how it makes me feel when I see that kind of stuff. And it's the same thing in like a cemetery. You're like, okay, here's all these family that I never met,
Yeah.
but it's still like interesting to know them or to see them, where they're buried and that kind of stuff. And the amount of stuff you do know, like that's better than nothing, Very similar to like why we're doing this podcast is at some point Mateo and Lillian will, I don't think they care enough to listen to moms, or I don't know if they haven't asked questions because mom tells a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But at some point they'll listen to it and then, years from now when you guys are gone, like they'll have this stuff to listen to, and I think it's cool. And it's the same thing, like whenever you talk about, when we go down there and show us like around and show us the things and, the stuff we've been doing since we were little kids, like, then that's what we do when we go down there. Then, then we add things because, when you would take us to Texas, you and mom, we would do the same stuff over and over because that's what you guys know. And then when I went with Andrea, we did all those things too, but then we did other things that like we just never did because
you could actually leave that town.
Yeah.
We never took you guys out of that town, I don't think. We went to visit.
Yeah.
2 weeks out of the year and no vacations, I'm sorry, but we always went to the same place,
No, it was, for us, like, or I should say for me, like it was like, all right, we're going to Texas again. And we went and hung out and had fun and came back. You know, it was what we did, and it's like when people go camping, like every summer. Oh, we're going camping again. Like, I mean, people do that all the time. So
yeah. Well, that's just one of the many things that I think about. You know, and for sure, I've told Misty this too. You know, I wish I would have talked to you guys more. You know, I was a dad and stuff, and I was basically a good dad and everything, but I didn't sit you guys down like you, for example, when you were 9, sit you down. Okay, how was your day today? You know, like on TV and stuff, but that's impossible. You know, do you ever do that with your kids? Like sit down and actually talk to them for a bit, you know, and find out what's going on in their life?
If we eat dinner together, because we don't always do it together because we're so busy. If we eat dinner together, that's where a lot of that comes out. Because they also aren't used to us sitting down all the time because there's a game here or practice here or dad's coaching or whatever, you know. So when we sit down, then they get comfortable and we talk like that.
Yeah.
I drive Mateo home every day from school because of track right now. So I always talk to him. Some days we ride home in silence because he's tired or he's on his phone talking to his friends or whatever.
Yeah.
And some other times I have stuff to talk about and we talk and see what's going on and you know, that kind of stuff.
Because it's a good thing because you're different people. Like when you were 9, you were a different person than you are now. And I regret not, I can't really say that I mean, I knew you, but I didn't know you, what was going on in your little pea brain at the time, you know, because things that are nothing to me are really huge to you at 9 years old, you know, and those are the things that I wish that I would have delved more into. But man, there's a lot going on, you know.
There is, and you can only do so much. And I think much like we are with you and Mom now is like, okay, as long as Mateo and Lillian still want to come over and like hang out or eat dinner, then everything's fine. You know?
Yeah. And we're the kind of grandparents that don't keep track of this or don't keep track of that. You know, we want them to do what they want to do. You know, if they want to come over one day, good. You know, if we don't see them for 3 months, that's how it is, you know, because they're at the age already. We really want them to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's their life, you know. If they happen to fit us in on a particular day, we're grateful, you know. Yeah.
When we were driving over here today, I turned to Mateo. I was like, what if I told you, just kidding, Appa needs his yard mowed? And he just looked at me because he just mowed our yard today.
Oh.
I was like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But I do always remind him every once in a while. I was like, because he'll probably come over here more, even when he's driving, because this is where his best friends live in this neighborhood. And I always remind him, though, I was like, me and Appa are getting old. If they ask you to help, make sure you help with whatever they need help with.
Yeah.
I said, they're not going to ask a lot. And they might even like hold off on, we'll get them the next day.
Yeah.
I said, but it's going to take you 10 minutes to carry a box down the stairs or to do this or do that. I said, just make sure you're asking them what they need.
Yeah. And that's be really good. We used to do that all the time, you know. Well, with my good grandmother. Yeah. The other one, we just kept our head down. I think she's going to talk to me. Oh, no. That type of deal.
That's how I always felt, not that they were mean or anything, but when you don't know family and you go visit family and you're just like you don't know what to do. When we would go visit Mom's grandma and grandpa, and we just sit there and like, all right, I don't know what to do here. Everyone's speaking in Spanish. I'm just sitting here.
Well, that was that language barrier too, you know. Well, that was kind of us too, and we've talked about that too, you know, because I said it in Spanish, you know, when the podcast started. That's probably the most Spanish you've heard me talk since me and Mike should use it to keep you guys from understanding what was going on, what we were saying.
There is this comedian who's a great joke. She said, I'm Hispanic, but I don't speak Spanish because that was the secret language my parents used, so I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. But that's me and Tina say, you know, like white Mexicans, you know, that's kind of what happens, you know. That's who you hang out with, that's who you talk with all the time. So we kind of changed a little bit. I can go to Waelder, you know, and I can speak Spanish conversationally, you know. I can have a conversation, but when my older brother, who's lived down there his whole life, you know, and he's got friends that were originally from Mexico, and they start talking Spanish and stuff, and I feel like I sound like I'm mentally disabled or something, because they're like, what? I can understand everything. And then I try to say something, and they're like waiting, like I feel like they're waiting for me to finish my Spanish sentence, So I kind of stay quiet a little bit more. But that's the only place where it shows up. If I got time, I can hold a conversation and do stuff. Yeah.
It just, I never think about it, like, because, again, when you're growing up, there's only so much time in the day to do certain things.
Yeah.
And I also, and I don't know, I try to think, like, it was probably obviously the easiest to do when we were little, like just to start talking to us when we were little.
Yeah.
And then as we got older, then we would learn English and some other, and mix them together. But I don't know, at some point, and it might be like Jaime, like, I feel like Jaime knows Spanish, but it's, when you use it a couple times a year, like it's, it's hard to stay with it.
Yeah, use it or lose it, And we used to, that's all we used to speak at home. But he left when he was 15 also. So our vocabulary kind of stopped there, Spanish vocabulary. And then it was hard to teach it to you guys what we knew, me and Mom, because our primary language by that time was English as well.
Yeah.
So it was really going to take an effort, And when you're running around doing this and doing that, okay, it's time for your Spanish lesson. And that wasn't going to happen, So it would have had to happen naturally, but we didn't speak Spanish at the time naturally, We would have had to, okay, I got to say this in Spanish. I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sorry though.
It's fine. I thought it was funny though, because Mateo has to pick a language for high school.
Yeah.
And I asked him what he picked. He said he picked American Sign Language. I said, damn. So he's going to learn American Sign Language.
Yeah. It was like Jimmy Kimmel asked, I don't know who it was, but some star, what's your favorite sandwich? And he said, ice cream.
Yeah.
You don't think of it as sandwich, but he said ice cream. And then he said, do you lick around the edges? He goes, that's none of your business. But that was such an oddball answer for a sandwich, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was not expecting him to say American Sign Language, but I think a lot of it has to do with, well, my friends are also doing this, and then that's how I picked it. So
I took Spanish, and I got straight C's in it, baby.
Well, everyone always asked me, like, when I was in high school, was like, how do you not, like, why aren't you doing better? Or, why can't you speak it better or whatever? I was like, I grew up in Ohio like you guys. Like, what do you want from me? Like,
that's what Tina says. Like at the hospital, she's working. They always want her to speak to somebody that speaks Spanish or something. Why don't you know Spanish? Where are you from? She's from wherever, How come you don't speak that? Just because you don't after a while, And actually, that's what's supposed to happen. We assimilate, That's what that is, So generally, it's a good thing, and you can still hang on to your culture like I have, That's where I feel most at home. Obviously, I go to my hometown, and man, I feel great there. I feel like that's where I belong. So you don't lose your culture just because you don't use the language every day, And that's the important part,
I think there's a wave. I think there was a wave where, like, all right, years ago when you're coming here, then you got to not be who you are. And you got to assimilate real quick, and you got to do all this stuff. And now I think it's just like a generational thing, because then I feel like now, like Misty is teaching Nico how to speak Spanish. Like there is a ebb and flow, especially with generations. Like, all right, we're trying to almost like get it back. Like, not that we lost it, but like use our culture more, or be a part of it more, or something.
Yeah. And the further that you go, in the generations, you might lose some of it, but it's the basics is still going to be there, and everybody assimilates. It's just that they try to speed some people up. They come over here, they don't like that they speak Spanish or whatever. Well, give them a chance. You know what? They're kids. Are probably going to speak English all the time. And their kids probably won't even know Spanish, They don't give them a chance to assimilate. It's going to happen, whether they intend for it to happen or not. Mm-hmm. Another thing that makes it more difficult is the mother country's right there.
Yeah.
It's not like it's an ocean away, or it's right there. So it's hard to for everybody to assimilate right away. Because it's right there. It stays close to us all the time.
Yeah. The hold is much stronger.
Yes.
When it's there.
Yes, and it's a good thing. And the kids that are born here and live here, they will assimilate, but you got to wait a generation or two, like it happened with us,
Yeah.
My grandfather didn't know any English. My dad knew some, and I like to think that I know how to speak English well enough, to speak to anybody, and that's how it happens, but you got to give it time,
Yeah.
Hmm.
When speaking of children, how old were you when Buddy was born?
When Buddy was born, I was 23.
Did you guys when because you met Mom in high school, or you knew Mom prior to that?
When that fall of '73, when I came over here, I met her right away. I was shy and stuff, and I didn't really ever have a girlfriend or nothing, and I was it was a scary thing, I was a virgin and everything, Rodney Dangerfield said, when I was young, sex was a scary thing. I was a virgin, and it was a scary thing. I had sex and I was all alone. Anyway, I'm sorry, but
okay.
I was walking down the hallway like the first week of high school, and here she comes, and she's kind of like walking behind me. Well, I don't want to say the first week. That makes it sound pretty bad. Maybe a few weeks in, she's behind me and she's kicking my feet. She wanted to get to know me, So ever since then, I guess I was a sophomore, the beginning of sophomore year, and she was a freshman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I picture it like in the movies where there's like this glowing light behind her as she's walking down the highway when you see her, and everyone's slow motion, and you're
it was actually the other way around. I think I was the one with the glowing light, yeah. Or I think it was just somebody new. I think she said it was, it's a new guy in school, but we can call it a glowing light.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you guys, when do you remember like being boyfriend and girlfriend for the first time, or like talking about that?
Oh yeah, man, and I still love her the same way.
Yeah.
It just, man, that's even when we were divorced for 9 years. There was I may have dated a couple times. Well, I had a couple good friends. Mom says, "Yeah, it took two to replace me," But it's nothing like that. For me, it was really true that there's only one that God makes for you, and and since then, it's always been the same for me. I guess that's why I never left her when all that turmoil was going on. I always had hope. Hope carried me to say it. Like a terrible thing would happen one day, and the next day I hoped, okay, everything's going to be better from now on. And another terrible thing would happen 2 days later. Okay, the next day I think everything's going to be good from now on for 20 years or something.
And that's delusion.
I was delusional.
Yeah.
But that's how much hope I have. That's what kind of person I am. I think that's what that comes from. Because sometimes some bad things happen. 2 months later, I'm out of here. Some people go like that. But it's been the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember when your guys' first dates you went on?
We had to kind of sneak because Grandpa didn't want me around and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Well, I guess I wouldn't call those dates. We would go for walks, and stuff like that. But when we did finally start dating, Mom would tell you I was always late and stuff, and I was hanging out with my buddies and that. But I really did want to be there on time, Yeah. I think it was more of a Mexican type of deal. Not that I was too busy to go see her, because man, I still remember. I actually got a picture of when she comes out of the house and she's walking towards the car. Man, that's just how I felt when I would see her, But yeah, I remember everything. It's great, it was great, and it hasn't changed a bit.
Yeah,
hasn't changed a bit. now that we're older, I prefer older rather than old, by the way.
Well, you're almost 70.
Well, 2 years away. I just had a birthday. But I forgot what I was
About mom.
saying. Check your notes.
It did say that.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's an old thing there. You know,
See, you just said older, and then you're like, I don't know what I said.
because you always feel the same way. You don't think that it just kind of creeps up on you, like oh, that joint hurts a little bit. It doesn't work like it used to, or I get tired a little sooner. I used to be able to walk this far, or that's how it happens. Or stuff hurts, but there's no reason for it. Where before there was always a reason. You either fell or that's how it happens. I still that's what I guess that's why I hang out with nephews and nieces now. It must be more intense for me that I don't feel it. Or something. Yeah.
So you obviously with us, like we know, and you just said that Grandpa didn't like you very much, if at all. I don't know.
The feeling was mutual, by the way.
He was. I obviously I only have two. Obviously, I have two sets of grandparents. One we visited once a year, maybe twice, and then the other one we went to their house a lot. And so I can only. It's not like I'm comparing them. There isn't a comparison really because of my level of knowing them, and visiting them. So he was, I guess, comparing him to other friends, like he was mean. But he was just mean. It was almost like, I think about it, it was almost like we put him out. Like you were saying, quit going in front of the TV so much. So we would like crawl on the ground so we wouldn't go in front of the TV, but he would still like take us to eat. And, and most of that was like grandma probably pulling him along, but,
Well, that was, I think that was all learned. He was a product of his environment, of his upbringing. He did not know how to show emotions or love or anything. Junior would come visit. His son would come visit, and rather than talk to him and hug him or tell him he loved him, he would put new tires on his car. With material things, he would show his love however he saw that. But he would never show anything like that, which I think that's how his parents were.
Okay.
So I think that in the long run, it makes you even colder with your everyday interactions, and I think that I'm not making excuses for him because he got older and you can learn, But I think that's just how he grew up, and he was made into that, He ended up being a terrible, cold man, and so you can always fix that if you recognize it. And there was a time when Grandma left him for a little while, and he changed. He became normal, like talked normal and showed emotions. And as soon as Grandma came back, he went back to so he was capable. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So that makes it even worse,
Yeah, and he, I always remember him, and I think it's with those little kid things where when you're a kid and you go up to someone that your family, you're immediately gonna hug them and want to hug, and so we always did that, and he hugged us back, and so it was never like going over there.
But he hated it.
No.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, but like whatever you said, like, hey, you're going to Grandma Grandpa's, or Grandma's coming to pick you up. Like we never were like, ugh, we don't want to go. Like we still had a good time over there. It was fun.
Oh, Grandma.
It was mostly Grandma though, but
probably smoothed him out, because Grandma was just the best Grandma, just the best. Yeah.
Yeah, we had fun over there, and we get.
She would let you guys do whatever you want.
Yeah. But even when I remember there's pictures still I have of taking Mateo over there when he was probably like 2 or 3, and it was just me and Mateo and Grandpa, and we walked around the entire time. Like we walked around everywhere, and we walked around the railroad tracks and went in his barn and was messing around, and we were walking down the sidewalks and everything, and it is again one of those things where it's like I never thought like, oh, I'm not taking my kid over there because he was so mean to me all the time. I just know like. Was he the nicest grandpa? No, but there was definitely probably worse grandpas out there. He never laid a hand on us. He never did anything like that, and obviously he was good enough to us. If there was something bad, you guys wouldn't even let us go over there to begin with,
Yeah.
So,
and we knew he was bad. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're right.
But we knew how he was and everything. But he wasn't bad enough where he was going to hurt you guys. Besides, he was kind of cool to you guys, but he wasn't like he was to his children.
Oh, yeah.
And we felt that it wasn't our decision to take your grandfather away from you. You know, we let you guys grow up and then get away from him, you know, which is basically what you guys did, you know. But that was, we thought that was too drastic a thing to do, you know. Yeah.
So you guys didn't like each other. How'd you guys end up getting married? Like, because at some point, somebody has to be okay with, you know, somebody marrying their daughter. Like what, or you're just like, well, we're just doing it and he's not going to be there. Or how'd that happen?
Oh, you got no choice eventually. You know, your daughter can, I'm not talking about me, but your daughter could fall in love with the biggest bum there is, you know, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can talk to her but you can't get angry. You can't do anything about it. You know, you just have to wait until hopefully it blows over. And if it doesn't, well then, because, you know, you just can't control that aspect of their lives. Eventually, once they get older, they're going to pick who they're going to pick until they decide not to pick them. You as a parent can't really do too much about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened. You know, he had no choice after a while, you know. So he let us date, you know, and I'm glad that he kind of let us date when he still didn't really have to. You know, I think we started dating, I think when we were 17 or something, you know, taking her out and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? So he had no choice. After a while, that's just the way it ends up, you know. It's not like we always argued and stuff. You know, I never tried to kiss his ass to get on his good side. He didn't have a good side. Yeah. We all understood that. But we just tolerated each other because we had to, because of, you know, your mom, my wife, and his daughter. You know, that's what we had in common. There was a couple of times when we almost came to blows, you know, but that was after we were married, and he tried to treat her the same way, and I had to step in and say, hey, she's my wife now. She's not your daughter no more. She's my wife. So I called him out a couple of times. He didn't go for it, so, you know. Hey, sometimes you got to do that kind of stuff, you know, when you get out with your wife, no matter who it is, you know. Yeah.
You, when you guys got married, you lived, is that when you had that house in Defiance with the pond and everything? Or is that your first place? Like a house? Did you guys live in apartments or anything together?
Yeah. We had 2 apartments at first, and then we moved into a duplex that was on the edge of town, you know, a little bit more country. The one with the pond, that was 5 acres that we bought. And we, on a corner lot, way out in the country, like, I think it was 5 miles out of town.
Okay.
So it was country. And it was 5 acres, and it had a third of an acre pond on it, the shape of, you know, kidney shaped. And on the very corner, we had planned to build a house there. Yeah. But that was we bought that. I think Buddy was still like maybe not even a year old.
Did you guys end up building a house on it or no?
No, we ended up selling that because I got transferred.
Okay.
And I drove it, and we still had our plans there in Defiance. We didn't want to leave Defiance. And when I got transferred, I had been driving from Defiance over to Alexis Road over here in Toledo. Mm-hmm. And I had been doing it for over 2 years. And then Mom was going to go back to school to be a registered nurse from an LPN, and she was going to go to Owens to do it. And we thought, we're going to have to leave, you know. We didn't want to leave Defiance. It's a smaller town.
Yeah.
But it was just foolish, both of us be driving. So that's when we ended up moving up here. And we sold those 5 acres with the pond, and that was the down payment for the house we got up here.
I'll say, is that something you guys had, like, we got to sell this in order to move?
If we wanted to buy a house, I had to sell it to get the down payment.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a real nice place too, because I would go and mow. Half of it was weeds and stuff, but the half of the pond, I always went over there and mowed it, cleaned the pond out. It had chemicals, blue water. You guys would fish in there. I think we still had it when you came along, you know. And I would take Buddy would go over there, and we didn't have a hook or anything hardly, you know, and no bait or nothing. We just throw the string in there. we'd catch bluegills because there was like a ton of them. And there were probably so many that were cannibalizing each other in there, And so we would throw them away to kind of thin it out a little bit, but there were so many in there, He used to love that.
What
He was easily entertained at the time.
Who?
Buddy.
Oh. Yeah, if you just that is a lot of bluegill. If you're just like, hey, they're trying to bite this. Bite this, the fishing line.
We would swim in there, and they was always nipping at you.
When so is that when you moved to the house in Toledo? That when I grew up in?
Yeah, in Toledo. Yeah.
How much do you remember how much you paid for that house when you bought it?
I think it was like 57.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
55 and 57.
What made you pick that area? Or was it just here's the house?
It was just the right price, because we didn't have a ton of money, and it was a decent neighborhood, and it just happened to be a nice little house. We just picked it. It could have been anywhere,
Have you driven by that? Like, what is that property now in Defiance?
I've never gone by it again, ever.
I thought for sure you'd go at least once.
Yeah, it's over there by the dam. There's a dam outside of Defiance.
Yep.
And you drive. There's a road that goes right to the dam, and you drive out. It's perpendicular from the dam.
Okay.
You go straight out about 2.5 miles, and it's right there on one of those corners.
Yeah.
I've never gone by there again, but I'm pretty sure that there's a house there and everything. It was a nice lot. They took the dirt from the pond and just raised that whole section on the corner where the house was going to go. So it's real nice, and the other 2.5 acres were lower, know. Yeah.
How come you never gone over there? Or you just never thought about it?
I just
or you never go that way?
Don't really go over there anymore. Once we moved up here, I'm there, man, well, look at all I was missing, man. Defiance is nothing. There ain't no way I would move back there anymore.
Big city life.
Oh, man. No way I would go back. Hamler, even worse, man.
I know. When we went back was that your aunt's? Or that birthday party we went to? You went to, right?
Yes, my aunt's.
Yeah, it's just like even me and you've obviously been around a lot longer than me, but like everything just looks the same all the time. Like every once in a while, there's like, I remember when the car dealership was like newer there when I was in high school or whenever I was in there.
Yeah.
Or when they removed the road from leaving, it used to be like it wasn't a right angle. It was like a slight bend to go back home.
Yeah.
When you would leave Hamler, and I remember going there one day. That was like the big change they made was taking that road out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not. I don't know. There's not a lot happening.
No, not a lot. With Steve, Melissa's husband, would say, a lot of people don't want to leave from there, It's kind of like how I felt about Defiance or Hamler and stuff, I didn't want to leave at first. But he says that some of us did leave, me included, and he said, but I went back 25 years later, and I went back 25 years later, Juan is still sitting in the same spot smoking doobies, and Cornbread's still walking around town, and nothing changes. So, you're not going to miss anything, Even Melissa says something like that, now that she travels more with Steve. I never wanted to leave because I thought I was going to miss something, but you don't miss anything. And I went, no, that's the bad thing, and that's the beauty of a small town. Nothing changes, Yeah.
So when you moved, when we moved to Toledo, it was me and Buddy, just me and Buddy.
Yeah.
What did you guys have plans for me and Buddy and like were any of us like, yeah, we're gonna have X amount of kids? Like, did you guys think about that when you first got married?
I didn't want too many. You and Buddy were the only ones that were planned. Mom wanted like 10, and I wanted 2, and that's when we ended up with 4. But yeah, you and Buddy were the only ones that were planned. Yeah.
Were you one of those like, I want to have boys or I want to have girls, or
no,
it didn't matter?
It didn't matter.
Yeah.
It really didn't. Yeah. I was glad the way it ended up, the 2 boys first, and then the girls. Yeah. I just like that,
I feel good about it. for how we have with Mateo and Lillian.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that I feel like as they get older, it's nice to have Lillian has an older brother for whatever reason.
I always feel like it's better overall, for their lives. And maybe that's sounds, misogynist or something. But
I mean, I feel the same way. Like, and it could be the same regardless of the gender of the older child. And it's
traditional roles. The man, the big brother's going to protect her, and she's just a weak little girl. She's not a weak little girl, believe me. But I still like it like that. For them.
I was Mateo was mowing the yard today, and I was talking to my neighbor, and I was like, yeah, Mateo's job this summer is he's in charge of the grass. That's what his thing is, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, then he was talking about his kid is going to be a senior and how he's been doing the yard for a while. He goes, you'd be surprised, like after a while, how they change and take ownership and want it to be better. Because right now, like Mateo did a pretty good job, like going outside looking.
Yeah.
All he did was mow. I weed whipped and blew everything off, but all he did was mow. And there was only a couple spots where he missed. He tried to make his lines as best he could, and it looked fine. And that's what I told my neighbor. I was like, he probably could have started it sooner, but it was me that wanted it to look a certain way, and he wasn't ready for that. In my brain.
And the times are a little different because I had you out there when you were 8 years old.
I know. So I was telling him
the top of the lawnmower was like this. But I sat out there and watched you. I was gonna pick your foot up after you got cut off, and run to the hospital.
I was telling him. I remember my dad. We had a push lawnmower, and I didn't give a shit what the lawn looked like because I would just mow in a continuous circle until I got in the middle. I didn't know about lines or turning this way or that way or whatever. I was like, I also don't think my dad cared that much. I don't know. He never made a point to say anything about it.
No, because I thought it was good enough, and I'd come back and touch it up. The point was that you were helping out, and I think you felt good about it too. And I think the way we were, get your butt in there and drive, that's kind of how you grow up. That's why you were the only one that knew how to do laundry when you went to college. See how I said that? You went to college. And your friends didn't. Why? Because they didn't make them do anything,
That's what Mateo started doing his laundry too. So
did he? Yeah. There you go. Especially that nasty stuff.
Well, he needs but the thing now is he'll just put everything in there, and then the socks they're all balled up still.
Yeah.
So even today he was taking the socks off. He was all grassy. I go, first of all, don't take your socks off here because your grass is getting everywhere. He goes, they're inside out. I go, secondly, you can't put them inside out in the washer because they're not going to get dried or washed at all. You're going to take them back out and there's going to be green grass all over the place. But so I was talking to my neighbor about it, and so I let Mateo use the push mower in the front and the riding mower in the back just so he could do both. So.
And a riding mower, I think it makes them want to do it a little bit more, until they do it for like the 15th time. After that, then that doesn't work either. But that's the point where you tell them, hey, that's your chore, you got to do it, and that's it,
He did say, I don't think, because I think he knew the answer because he goes, how'd it go? Everything good? Yep. Will I be getting paid for this? You will not. But I did tell him, like, how often do we just say, no, we're not going to get that for you? Like,
right.
It's not like we tell you no on everything. So I was like, you can mow the lawn and you'll be okay. You can do your laundry, you'll be okay.
I should tell you guys, your supper that you're going to eat later, that's your pay.
I tell that.
And you know how you're warm at night and you got a good place to poop? That's your pay.
Even though we didn't have a doorknob on the restaurant for a while. But.
Hey, that was just for 2-3 years,
Why, though?
I just never got around to it, Yeah. That's procrastination. That's all it was. Here, the doorknob wasn't working quite right, and I switched it out right away,
Well, because you learned.
Yeah.
Well, see, always learn, even when you're almost 70.
I got a little time. I'm almost 69. Well, not even that. I'm barely 68.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks.
All right. So when obviously me and Misty are really close, so even though she wasn't planned, it happened pretty quickly.
I was like, wow.
Is it like thinking, here's our 2 boys, and like a year and a half later, here's another baby. Like, what is that? What do you remember what you were thinking or how you felt in that time?
Since the very first one, even though it was planned, Mom was in the library doing homework, and I walk in there, and somehow, she tells me that she's pregnant. Even with Buddy, the way I felt personally as a man, I'm like happy, but I start thinking about money and we got to do this, we're gonna have to do that. Like it's worry happy, or happy worry, So I kind of felt the same way with each one of you guys, and it's really not a chore. People say, God, how can you handle 3? You really don't think about it. You already had 2. 3 is nothing. Yeah, it's not going to change anything drastically or anything. Besides a little more money, a little more work. But it's all luckily you don't have 3 overnight. Like that would be tough. Like having triplets or something. Yeah. Wow.
When we moved to that neighborhood, did you know we were going to go to that Our Lady of Lords, that school?
No, because I wanted you guys to go to public school because that's where I went, and I wanted. I didn't. I felt a little bit like I was trying to be fancy or something, And I like to think that everybody's equal to me. We're all equal, but I didn't like the school, We went there. We visited the school that you guys would have been going to. The building was old, and I didn't like the teacher that we talked to. And then I saw some of the kids from the neighborhood. Not that they were like there was a bunch of bad stuff going on, but it just seemed rougher than I expected. And I just thought that it might be better to go over to the Catholic school, which was right on the road. It didn't take nothing. It wasn't going to be like you had to drive 3 miles or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and the bus picked us up right in front of the house.
Yeah, I thought it was a good decision. Afterwards, I still felt a little guilt, for it, if that makes sense to you.
No, it does, because it is the same thing as when we first started talking. It's like, well, we have the ability to pay for our children's education, and some people don't.
Yeah.
And there is some guilt associated with that, but that also makes you human and makes you maybe a good human. Like, well, we're doing this, but,
Yeah, and that's how I was raised. Because I've told you this before. The most important thing when we had you guys and we were raising you guys, it wasn't even education. The most important thing was that you guys ended up being good people. Good neighbors, a good friend, a good husband. Every situation, even the gray ones, have a right and a wrong, and hopefully, we would raise you guys where you always tried to pick the right one. Of course, we all have faults, like myself included, like the aforementioned felony. But but good people was our goal, and I think. Luckily, we didn't have to work too hard at it. You guys were just naturally good people. I'd like to think that we had a little bit of something to do with it, but I'm a firm believer in that you're born with what you're born with. And if you're good people, 90% of it you already were good. We just kind of clench it on top as parents. The other 10%.
Having kids costs a lot of money, and now you're the added expense of tuition that you didn't think you were gonna have to pay for. But how did you square that in your head? Like, all right, now we're gonna, like, did you think like, okay, I gotta work overtime, or we gotta work more of this, or cut back here, or you're just like, well, we figure it out?
We just saw how much it was going to be, and the best thing, our saving grace was payments.
Oh yeah,
they let you make payments, so so it was like over the school year, you made a monthly payment. So really, we had to work a little bit more. It's more money. It's math. But we really didn't think about it after a while. It was just another payment.
Do you remember the tuition?
I do not. Yeah. No. I do remember the shock when Buddy went to St. John's, started going to St. John's that one year when he was a freshman, whatever year that was, 81. I don't know, when was it, 98, 90?
I was in 8th grade in 99. I graduated 8th grade. So probably like 97, 96.
Okay.
Something like that.
At that time, it was $5,500.
Oh yeah.
for a year at St. John's. And so this is almost 30 years ago. Can you imagine what it is now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And then if he would have done well, I might have stuck with it. But he had his problems, and he wasn't a real good student, and he was flunking out. And I thought, well, I can let him go to school for free and let him flunk out,
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the little things that convinced me, hey, we'll move to a place with a good school system and use the money, all that money I would have been paying for tuition, use it for a house.
Oh yeah.
I think it was great. I really like Perrysburg.
Yeah.
I really do. We came over in '99, and I don't ever regret coming over here.
Well, Perrysburg was our second choice, even, right? We were going to build a house in Monclova.
Yes, and it was kind of the same thing, because they got a real good school system over there, Anthony Wayne, and but that fell through, and we decided not to build anymore, and the school year was, and we kind of wanted to come over here by a certain time. Not month of the year, but like by a certain year, before you guys, now too, we're going to be in high school.
Yeah.
And I didn't want you to have to start over there and then move you.
Yeah, because I graduated 8th grade, and then even for that next year, Misty was still going there, so she could finish 8th grade, and Martina, so she could get First Communion.
That was a choice, That was a choice because I didn't want her. If she left at 8th grade, everybody left at 8th grade.
Yeah.
Because that school only went to the 8th grade, so that would have been normal. Everybody went to different schools, and so that would have been normal for her. And Tina stayed and went to 2nd grade over there, but she was still pretty little that it wouldn't have been such a big move for her, They're still real stupid at the time. Yeah.
I remember talking to someone this year. I was talking about, like when I first started doing track and field was in high school, and like, oh, you didn't have it in junior high? I was like, well, I didn't go here in junior high. In my grade school / junior high, we had track and field day where we could check things out on
Track
one day.
and field day.
Yeah. We could run races, and the same person would win all the races. So that was cool.
Sorry, by the way.
No, it was fun. we going to that school and not like now. If you were go to a like if we went to Our Lady of Lourdes now, like you can see what else is out there because of social media and everything. Like back then, it's like, well, this is our school and this is what we do, and we have basketball, and you can do this wrestling camp if you want to, and if you want to play football, you got to go to the other school because we don't have football, but they do, and so like we. It wasn't like
it was normal to you.
Yeah, like we weren't like now when I tell people I only had 13 kids in my 8th grade, they're like, "What?" Because it's a lot different,
But I thought it was real tight and real, that it was good atmosphere for you guys. Because of it was so small too. Everybody knew everybody, and
I enjoyed it. It was fun, and I didn't think about it, but one of the best things about it was wearing a uniform all the time. Because then when we moved to Perrysburg, is trying to figure out what to wear every day, like not having to think about clothes, and then all of a sudden, now I have to pick out clothes and find clothes to wear.
I don't remember, but I would think that you weren't very good at it at first.
I was not. I was terrible at it. No, but just like most boys, I would imagine, I just picked something off the ground, smelled it, it was good. So let's go. It took about a year, but after that, it's fine.
Some people would say longer than that, but we'll say a year, just like we both went to college.
Yeah. Well, I have a piece of paper saying I finished college.
That's true.
You have your 31.3 years at GM.
That's true.
I do talk about people whenever, at the point where I was a month ago when I was looking at another job or something, I was talking to my boss. I go, every time I get another job or move jobs, my dad's always like, another one, like moving. I was like, but he worked at the same place his entire life. And I mean, a lot of your generation, that's how I did.
Oh yeah, And you kind of prepared me for Dina. Dina was like, I'm never going to leave this place. But now when she's talking about this new job and stuff, I don't feel the apprehension that I used to feel when you would change jobs, you know. And every time that you did, it worked out great, you know. And where you ended up for now, you know, now I want you to stay there again forever. I still want that. But and if she wanted to stay there her whole life, I wanted that for her. Mm-hmm. But now that she wants to get this other job, I don't feel that as bad anymore. You know, I still worry that it hope that it works out for her, you know. But man, I used to just dislike when you change jobs.
I also said because I was in the union for like 10 years. And when I left the union to be a supervisor, I told my boss, like, man, it was like told my dad I was leaving the country or something. That I'm not in the union anymore.
Yeah, you're those guys. The man.
Did you ever think when you were working at GM, was there ever like, I want to look at this job or look at this other job, or it was just like, this is it now?
No, because I needed money. You know, my job, I didn't have the luxury. And with no college degree or anything, that job was actually a pretty damn good job.
I was going to ask you if it was like being, when you were 18, it was like hitting the lottery to say like, oh yeah, I got picked.
Oh yeah. When I first started working at GM, I was making $10 an hour. There's people that make that now.
Yeah.
And at that time, that was really, really good. My job before that, I was making $3.21 an hour, and I jumped to 10. Once you work there, you know, in Defiance, you could have gone anywhere and bought anything. Oh, credit, sure. You know, it was just, and that's why I see a lot of people complain about that job. Don't get me wrong, I didn't like that type of work. If I would have applied myself and sacrificed a little more, you know, I probably could have done something, you know, but. I was really grateful for it because the benefits were amazing. You know, you guys got to take them, you know, and the benefits were great. The money was good. Well, even now, the retirement, they're still taking care of us. Me and Mom have excellent insurance for the rest of our lives, you know, and all because of that job. So I'm really grateful for it. But when I retired, oh, man, I would get depressed just going in there. As soon as I punched in, I really wanted to retire.
How many years at the end did it feel that way? Like, from when did it start feeling that way?
I want to say like the last 5 years or something, you know, because before that, I needed money and I was glad it was there, you know, and I could work all the overtime I wanted to and everything. You know, after that, you guys were pretty much gone besides Dina, you know. Mom was gone at that point, you know. The heck with that one. I want to get out of here, you know, and do something, you know. But at a certain point, and this used to happen to a lot of guys, I wouldn't think that it happens that much anymore. But you reach a point where when you have your first son or daughter and stuff, okay, it's not about you anymore. Now, because you're making so much money, not so much a lot, but enough money, you can't jeopardize that. You got to feed them, you got to clothe them, you got to have a good house for them, and it's not about you anymore. It's time to get to work, make some money, and do what you got to do. You know, be a man. You know, and that's how I felt about it.
That's why there's a point when I was working at Healthcare REIT, and I was either going to go to UT or go to GM. Because your cousin could get me in at GM. And I remember having a conversation with Andrew because Mateo was just boring. And she's like, why does it have to be one of these? I go, because I got to have a better job than what I have now. Like, I can't do this. There's no benefits here. The job's good. I like the job. I like the people. The money's fine. I was like, but because I have to do something better. Like, I can't just be right here, right now.
Yeah.
So I understand, like, what you're saying there is, like, a pull to, like, provide.
And I think years back that almost happened to every man. You know, these days not so much because the times are different. You know, and people make more money to begin with anyway, and they're able to. Their wife works or or whatever, and they're able to work it out where they can kind of do a mixture of the both. You can still go for something bigger and better, without too much trouble.
Well, also because of Mom and Buddy, like that was the dependable thing you had too. Was like, all right, well, this is what's keeping us alive and afloat here.
Oh man, yeah, especially there towards the end when I had to work a bunch of overtime just to keep my head above water.
Yeah.
All that overtime, I had to have it at that point, and that was another thing. Once things got better, Mom left, and there was this and that, I didn't have to do all that anymore. I could get out and actually do some things, and I was, I didn't feel that responsibility so much to other people or to other, I could think about myself, and it was kind of, that's kind of what I was going for when I wanted to get out of there. I still worked a lot of overtime so I could bank a little bit of money because I was going to retire early. It was actually a little too early to retire, but I was going to do it anyway. And I remember they had several buyouts, 3 or 4 buyouts, and I remember it was the third one because I wanted to leave on a buyout, and I missed it. I didn't quite have the time yet. And then I thought, we're not going to have another one. That was the third one. And lo and behold, about a year later, they had another one. And with that one, you could not quite have 30 years. I had 31 by that time, but you could have 28 or 28 and a half or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would pay you until you were 30, and then you could retire with the regular retirement.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
God dang.
Yeah. And
they were just trying to get rid of all the higher salaries.
They were in a big transition mode at the time because when I first started working for GM, almost 50% of all the automobiles sold in the United States were General Motors.
Oh, okay.
And right now it's like what, maybe 12%. I'm not sure about the number.
Yeah, something smaller, way smaller.
Maybe it's 17, 18%. I think that's what I read.
Yeah.
But they had like almost 600,000 people working for them at one time, and now it's like 147,000 or something. So it had started. That transition had started, and we were losing business, and over time they had to get rid of people as times changed.
Yeah, yeah.
And usually it was the old guys, because they could get them out, like that. And they would have a lot of layoffs too, but that cost them money too,
Yeah. So working, obviously a full-time job and overtime, and I want to talk about Mom and Buddy, but we'll start with Mom. Do you remember, because Mom came on the podcast, I don't remember what episode it was. So anybody who listens to the podcast would know Mom's entire story. Do you remember, because growing up, I remember you guys had you would party and have people over, and I was a little bartender handing out beers and this kind of stuff and just having a good time. Do you remember when it became a problem with Mom? Do you remember was there a pinpoint I know when this has started, or is it just at some point you're like, oh shit, this is not what. Can't handle this right now.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was more like I came to the realization, of what was happening, what was going on, and by that time, me, the kind of person that I am, there was probably a lot of hints in there, a lot of clues and everything.
Yeah.
And come to find out, it had been years already, and so she was well on her way, we used to go out quite a bit, and I'm not saying that we didn't, and I wasn't exactly sober myself, you know.
Yeah.
And we were like, I don't want to stereotype, but at the time, a lot of Mexicans are partiers. You know how they had a baby laying on the bed and they're laid on the table with beer cans around them.
Yeah.
They're at the dance and stuff. We didn't do that to you guys. We actually paid a babysitter, by the way. But I'll keep the short version because, man, I could talk.
Talk about as much as you want. It don't matter. Whatever you want to say.
Well, you like to keep it to an hour, though, don't you?
I'm already at an hour and a half.
Oh, no, good.
Yeah. It's fine. Mom's was 2 parts, so
Oh, wow.
yeah. Do whatever you want.
And it started mostly. I don't want to go into it too much. But
Let me put it to you this way: talk about it as comfortable as you want to talk about it. That's all. But you can take as much time as you want or as little, but whatever you are comfortable talking about, talk about it.
Yeah, there's when it started getting bad was when I was gone 12 hours for an 8-hour shift when I was driving all the way up here, and that's when things started happening that were bad, and I couldn't like unsee things. Because a lot of times, if your spouse is an alcoholic or let's say they got a problem, you kind of try to, you don't want to admit it to yourself because then you got to deal with it. And things might have to change. And things might have to change drastically. Or of course it didn't for me because I was one of the ones that was not going to leave my wife no matter what. But other people, you have to face it, so you try to put it off, or you make excuses, or I even had a friend that informed me of some things, and I didn't have that friend anymore. You can't just talk about somebody's wife where that guy hasn't admitted to himself what's happening yet, because you're going to be the friend's going to be the odd man out.
Yeah,
and I still haven't talked to him to this day. But eventually it got to the point where, it wasn't just personal, private things happening, but it was also financial things. Like she would, we had a checking account and she would just write checks.
And you can't do that.
Yeah. And at the end of the month, I had hope, and I was the kind of guy that I wasn't going to go anywhere, so I just thought she was bad at math, But I had to not only had to make up all these bounced checks at the end of every month, and this was multiple months.
Yeah,
this is how much I didn't want to face what's happening, even though deep down you do. I not only had to pay the checks, but I had to pay the fees that they charged you, and then. After that, it transitioned into, besides her disappearing and I couldn't find her and all that, until I would find her.
I don't want to gloss over that. That sounds a little more than like
like
a one-night deal.
She would disappear for times. It wasn't like overnight or anything, but she would disappear. I don't know where she was. She was partying.
Yeah.
And I didn't know with who or what she was doing. And a lot of times when she would drink, she wasn't going to remember anything, or she became a different person, And so that was constant worry, Yeah. And then she started stealing things. Credit cards, and then she got in trouble. And I'm just mentioning this, trying to fit in how I felt, because I should talk about more how I felt, because I think that she's mentioned all this stuff before.
Well, it's also good. It's also good because it was episode 166. So if anybody wants to go listen to my mom's podcast, but it's good to hear this side of the story.
So like 180 before my podcast, yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
It's good to hear like this part of it, because Mom talks about what she talks about or what she did and how she felt. And I think a little bit about like us and you and everything, but it's good to hear like what you have felt or are feeling at this time too.
Yeah. Let's just say that after a while of that happening over and over and over and over, and I had that stupid hope every single time, I was in total love with her.
Yeah.
And she is and was and always will be the only love of my life, Besides that, there was always this constant it's like a darkness that started coming over me. I was always suspicious. I was always so worried about her, and I was always that started to take up all my time and all my brain power. We still had you guys and stuff, but I was focusing on her, and that's the time that I became kind of a prick a little bit, for lack of I don't know what you would call me, asshole, but I was kind of not a nice person at that time.
When was that about? Do you remember?
It started getting really bad, like towards the end of when we were at Teal and when we were in Saddlebrook.
So I do remember jokingly talking about how we would talk about amongst ourselves, like, "Oh, Dad must have not taken his happy pill today."
Yeah.
So we were well aware of it. Again, it wasn't like, "Oh, we shouldn't go talk to Dad," or "We can't ask Dad that," or whatever.
It wasn't that bad.
No, like we knew like you were upset, and at this point, well, I'm in high school, so I'm aware of what's going on with Mom.
Yeah.
So part of that is me understanding it, but there was never a time. Well, at least I can only speak for me. There was never a time where I felt like I couldn't talk to you about something or I couldn't bring this up. Now, Now, if you were angry on a particular night, much like any kid, I'm not going to go up to you that night. I'll wait the next day to do whatever I want to ask you.
Yeah. I felt like I was angry constantly, but it wasn't at you guys.
No.
And I feel like that kind of radiated off on you guys. I don't remember actually being mean to you guys on purpose, but when you're angry all the time at this particular person, you're not a nice person, or it comes across as cold to.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that I was probably an asshole and stuff, but I was just focusing on her. And at the time, I kept thinking, I got to save her.
Yeah.
I got to save her. I got to make her stop it. But you have no control over that, And really, no one can control anyone. People think they control somebody else, or their husbands think they control their wives, or vice versa. Or nobody can control anybody ever. They're still going to do what they're going to do if they really want to, or if they're really able to mentally. They're going to do what they want to do, and I didn't take any happy pills or nothing. Maybe that was just the thing you guys said. Because I didn't seek any kind of help or anything. As a matter of fact, I didn't want any friends. It got so dark, my life. I didn't want to know people. I didn't want anybody. I didn't want to hang out with anyone. I didn't even want relatives coming over. I didn't want to. I thought I was hiding it. Protecting Mom's reputation, and I didn't talk about it with anyone. Nothing, no help for me.
Yeah.
So it's just my life started getting darker and darker and darker, and I became this person that I never was. I'm that person again, by the way, and every day is the best day of my life.
Yeah.
And we got to the point where Mom did finally get to a point where she's went into AA, and we've talked about it before, but I probably went with her to her first 50 meetings. Sometimes we talk about it, she doesn't remember that, but I do, because she was afraid to go. The only reason she started going was because she got in trouble with the law. That little stealing thing that landed her in prison eventually.
Yeah, she talked about that.
Yeah, but she had to go. She had to go get her slip stamped.
Yeah.
So
court ordered.
Yeah, court ordered, and so I went with her like the first 50 meetings, and after that she took off. And well, anyway, I can't remember whether she had any relapses at that time or not. Early in her sobriety. But eventually, she was sober 4 years when she left. Excuse me. And the reason that she left, and I totally understand it, and actually talking to you now, not how she left, the manner in which she left wasn't good.
No, and I told her that.
Yeah, but the fact that she did leave, I'm grateful for that, because things were never going to get better because I wasn't seeking help. I wasn't seeking any kind of help. And she had been sober 4 years, but I was still treating her like an alcoholic.
Okay.
Suspicious, now thinking she's lying all the time, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, to your credit, it's not like it's going to happen overnight.
Right.
Like your brain can't change, just like her alcoholic mind isn't going to change immediately.
Yeah. It's like a buddy would say, he said, I stopped stealing. Why do you still treat me like a thief? Because you just stopped last week. Give me a year, and then I'll believe maybe you won't steal anymore.
Give me a year, no stealing.
But, and I had been treating her awful, and that's why she left. And if she hadn't left, I never would have gone to seek help. Even though at first, like Mom was court ordered to go, mine was kind of forced too. I didn't want to get help. I don't want to talk to anybody about it. But she left, and I'm thinking, okay, if I get this help, go to see a counselor or go to Al-Anon, maybe she'll come back. So that's why I started doing it at first, and that's why we never would have ended up back together if she hadn't have left. Because it just would have gone in the same way, and maybe it would have gotten so bad that she said she would have drank if she would have stayed.
Yeah.
So, it wouldn't have ended up like the fairy tale it is now.
Best minute.
Yeah, best day of my life. And, but when I started getting help, my benefits, again, they paid for psychiatrists and therapists and everything, and I started going, which was really odd for me because Mexicans don't do that. You just walk it off or something, you work in the field. There's nobody that used to work in the field that goes to psychiatrists, But I started, I went there the first time. I'm not going to tell them anything about my personal life. Man, that hour went by like in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It felt like 5 minutes.
Well,
I was just puking out all this stuff.
I always tell people too. Now in that instance, like your body really needed to get the stuff out. So it was that instance. But when people come on a podcast, they're like, "Well, what am I going to talk about?" I said, everyone likes to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
They just don't know it, or don't get asked.
Especially me.
Yeah.
No. I like myself.
When growing up and hearing you say like you were in a dark place, and I'm trying to think. I think it's because I was in high school. I'm in my own head. I got my friends here. I got a girlfriend, or I'm just oblivious to what's going on because I think that's just a high school kid. I just don't remember
Which I'm glad.
Because I don't remember any specific thing about that time, except when I vividly remember coming out of the shower. This is after Mom had left, and I don't know the time frame. It might have been days, or it might have been a month, or whatever. But I vividly remember coming out of the shower and walking into your room, and you're just laying in bed, reading a newspaper, watching TV or something. And I remember crying and asking, like, when's Mom coming back?
Yeah.
Because I knew she was gone.
Yeah.
I just didn't know when she was coming back. And that's what I remember about that time. I don't remember you being angry or you being upset with us or I remember Mom leaving and not coming back.
Yeah. And it was also, it's kind of like a sudden death. It wasn't one of those slow drawn out things. It was one of those things like we all get home. Where's Mom at? I don't know. Have you seen her? And that's kind of like if you lose a loved one, like in a traffic accident or something,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's more of a shock too. But I got ahead of myself a little bit, where I did go seek counseling, and I actually went to Al-Anon. But when she first left, I don't know whether you remember, but I got sick. I actually wouldn't come out of the bedroom.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I was up there for going on 3 days. I tried to drink water. I could hardly hold water down. I would throw it back up, and much less eat. And that's when Misty didn't know what to do, because obviously you were oblivious, having fun, living your life.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. So that's when she called Tom. Because, when I spoke to Tom about it later on, when he became a really good friend and a mentor, a church mentor. We would talk about it, and I didn't want any friends and all that. You remember, I didn't want to know anybody new. Even my old friends, I shunned them and everything. He would, at the softball games, his daughter played softball just like Martina did. And he would come and talk to me. You know, what the heck does this guy want to talk to? But I was, nice, courteous and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd get away from him as soon as I could. But he kept doing that. And so Misty remembered that because I had no friends. And she ended up, I don't know how she ended up calling him, but he came right over. And he's saved. He was heavy into church, and he came over and he was talking to me. I didn't want him there at first, but I started talking to him and stuff. And that's when I was at my wit's end. I was dying, basically. And he said, he asked me if I wanted God to come into my life, and it's like you picture it, and I got on my knees, and I prayed the prayer, and I asked him to come into my life and be my Lord and Savior, and Mom gets upset to this part, because she got saved before I did. But I had I actually felt him, God come into me, and almost instantly, all that I was feeling, I shouldn't say all, like 90% of it, he lifted it instantly, and I felt that he was doing it. I actually felt it. I'm sorry if it sounds like a testimonial here, but it's what happened.
Yeah.
And he left me 10%, and I assumed to be working on myself to do what I got to do,
Yeah.
And I didn't start living it instantly, but I felt the relief, and I felt him, and I felt the relief that he had lifted it from me, and I didn't start living it until I started going to church. I went to Al-Anon. I at the time, and get this, wasn't even in touch with my spiritual side. I didn't know how to be spiritual.
Yeah.
I really didn't even know what that was hardly, and but I started going to Al-Anon, and that's where I found my spirituality at Al-Anon. And it's funny because that's the last thing I wanted to do, but I went in there. And I thought, well, I'm never going to, I'll try it once. And it was here in Perrysburg, one of the churches there. Mm-hmm. There was two older ladies there making coffee. It was before the meeting. As soon as I walk in and I see them and they greet me real friendly and everything, I just start bawling. I just start, just snotting everywhere. And they're like, they look like they had seen it before, and they both hugged me, and they're both talking to me like if we've known each other for years, And I went to that meeting. I went there for the first month or two, and I went there pretty regular. But it was a mixed meeting, male and female, and I started going to an all-male one because I felt more comfortable there, like I could speak more. Not that I was quiet at the other one, but I felt like it was better for me.
Yeah.
So I went there for 6 months, and then Tom convinced me that it was better just to concentrate on church. He didn't like that at those meetings they say to your higher power, And I understood, I kind of thought the same thing at the time. So that's when I started going to church, and I got baptized and everything. Sometimes I don't act like it, but I am saved. And ever since that time, it's once I got the help that I needed, with God's help, because he guided me towards that, once I got the help that I needed, that's where I got to. Ever since then, every day is the best day of my life. Even now, Mom's yelling at me or something. I'm just looking at her. God, she is so cute. Look at her yelling at me. We're older, and it's so inconsequential. I just want to make her happy, you know. And mom's an emotional person. She takes things to heart, and she's everywhere. She's doing this, and you know, and she likes to talk about what she likes to talk about. I like to listen, and you know, man, everything. The way it is to this day, you know, even well, like I told you, the birds are amazing, you know. And, when I feel the sunshine on my face, you know, looking at you, talking to you, being in this minute, you know, it's just everything is just amazing, you know. Everything, it's life, you know. And even though people don't think that I do too much, because I don't, I like to lounge. But every minute I'm alive. I'm learning things. I'm reading news, or I'm watching something, or I'm listening to the birds, or I'm talking to mom, or me and Tina are having a discussion about something. Everything is just so like amazing to me. Like I'm watching the greatest movie, or like I'm at this fantastic wedding, or I'm like at this, you know, a big concert. Or everything is like that to me. You know, everything is just that's the lenses that I see everything through. You know, and I like to think that this was the person that I always was, because I always was, you know, a happy kid. You know. I was actually the one, I can only speak for myself, but I actually got along with my dad, you know?
Yeah.
Basically, and my brother and sisters know this, so I'm not revealing anything, but I was his favorite, you know? And that's where I am, but it was a journey to get there, you know? And once I got there, Mom noticed. You know, because we were still kind of keeping touch, you know, and I had finally gotten to the point where I was going to be okay without her, you know.
Yeah.
Because that's what Al-Anon is, you know, that dependency stuff. You know, you can't love someone so much that you just overwhelm them and they don't want to be with you because you love them so much, or because of how you act towards them. You have to be willing to let them go. You know, that's that cliche thing. What was it? If you love someone, whatever.
Let them go, and if they come back,
Yeah. And lo and behold, she came back.
So do you think all of this, like, you know, dealing with mom, finding your spirituality and getting back together with mom and all that stuff, do you think then having to also deal with Buddy at the same time, like I don't know how those timelines line up as far as like how it got, like at one point you're probably like, oh, it's just he's being a kid and he's smoking pot and drinking beers, and then it progressed obviously, but all this stuff that I'm assuming it helped dealing with my brother, but how much of that played into the fact that like I'm this new person now, or maybe the same person you've always been, but now you found yourself. Like, how did that help with dealing with Buddy too?
Well, the later years, it really helped. I think that's how me and Mom came to the understanding that we came with them. There towards the end, for like the last 7 years of his life, we got along with them. Because he got to the point where he didn't steal anymore, obviously, and he wasn't.
He got to that year you needed.
Yeah, and we got to the point where with us, he would treat us the way you're supposed to treat your parents.
Yeah,
he was still doing what he was doing, or he might have been stealing over there or doing drugs or what have you, but to us, so. Since he was a little better with us, we came to the understanding. We actually talked to him. We made this deal. I said, we won't take it personal when you do drugs. Just don't do it around here or nothing. We won't take it personal when you do drugs. And we won't try to, you know, because that's when parents get involved and think they're going to do whatever. Yeah. We won't take it personal when you do drugs. But you don't take it personal when we tell you no, that we're not going to help you, or we're not going to do something for you that you asked us to do. And we made that agreement. And we got along after that. He still did his drugs. But he was over there. He didn't steal from us no more. He treated us right. We treated him right. We did help him still, but when we chose to help him. And that's what we're grateful for, those 7 years towards the end of his life, that we got along, basically. but there for a while, it was touch and go. Both him and Mom would pull a caper, and then Buddy would. Mom would pull a caper, and then Buddy would. And you were oblivious, of course. But that was a rough time there. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it played into the fat aspect of you not wanting to get out of bed and not being sick and everything.
Yeah.
It's having two people that you're dealing with these serious things in your life at the same time.
Yeah, because it didn't, I didn't get saved and things didn't get better for me until Mom was gone. And that was I think in 2009 or so, 2010, after, so it was there towards the end. So a lot of it, it was like that. And but I think what helped a lot is the kind of person that I was born to be and that I was raised to be. My parents and my grandparents, they were all good people. They were, especially my grandparents. They were poor people, but they always told you do the right thing, do the right thing. And as a matter of fact, that's how I live my life today too. They're watching. We're always watching. All my ancestors are watching me. My dad's watching me, my grandfather, my mom, and I try to live every day, where they're going to be okay. Yeah. He's doing good, he's doing well, and that's how I try to live. That's how you guys are too. You always try to do the right thing. Again, we always don't succeed. The aforementioned, caper I pulled, but among other things, we fail because we're human, but I think that we're all connected like that, Even I think I read somewhere there, it's love that connects us with even the ones that aren't here anymore. We're even connected, whether we realize it or not, with the ones that haven't even been, that aren't even here yet, I think that's what the force, why I think I read it, about this poem, that's what it's all about. Love is in your soul. It never goes away. And that's why we're all connected. And that's why we keep doing it to ourselves. We had a boy, and we lost him. Luckily, we had him until he was 39 years old. But we keep doing it to ourselves, loving things that die, and that's what the poem is about. And then, like, a person can have a big loss, lose a child, and then they'll go have another one, and it's love that makes you do that. Eventually, maybe not the parents, but the kids are going to feel that great loss for the parents. And it's terrible. But we keep doing it, because that's what being human is. That's what we're here for to love each other, and that's the force that keeps everything going. And and it's okay if we lose each other. We think we do here because we really don't.
Can you?
Man, that was deep.
It was good. It was very good. Can you? I guess explain as best you can. What it feels like to lose a child, because there's a lot of parents who have, whether they're 1, 2, 3, or 39, 49, 50. Like, what did that feel to you, or how did that feel?
At first, you don't want it to be true. You keep telling yourself. I even said it to myself out loud. Even I don't want it to be true. I don't want it to be true. I don't want it to be true. And that's the, you don't want to accept it at first, and then it's a pain. It's literal pain, and it's hard to bear at first, but you have to. You have no choice. And it takes a long while, but you do start to get to the point where it's bearable. And then you get to the point where, like I have XM radio, and it says that this song was in 97 came out. And you think, how old Buddy was, and he probably liked that song. And I wonder if he listened to it at whatever time, And then the memories, you can remember, you have all the memories, but without so much of the pain. You can remember things, and they're not poison to you. It starts to be a beautiful thing. And then after a while, you get to a point. I think somebody told me that it's like a smooth little stone that you have in your pocket, and from time to time, you forget you have that stone in your pocket, but then you reach in your pocket and you feel it and you rub it. And, oh yeah, he's gone. He doesn't exist anymore. And it comes in waves. Yeah. It never goes away. And there was a time when I couldn't look at a picture. I can look at pictures now, and now it's further apart. But times like this, there for a while, it was almost every day. It was either me or Mom, and the other one was there, and it'll come in a wave for something you remember, something you see, but it's not painful. It's a joyful feeling. And the tears are more that I'm so glad that he was here for as long as he was, But it'll come in a wave, and it's a lot less now that it ends up in tears, I'm sure Buddy don't want to hear that, but you know how he was. Yeah. But it does get to the point where it never goes away. But you put it in a part of your heart, of your soul, where it's always there. You go back to it when you want. It's not like it's in front of you, hurting you anymore. But it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. I compare it to when Mom left. And that deep, sick love that I had for her, the pain that I felt there, only she was still around, and I actually think about it like that. His ashes are upstairs. He doesn't exist on the planet anymore, and he never will anymore, and that's It's profound to me, that can actually happen, but then we get back to that love, and I think that's what I feel when I really feel him and I have tears for him, it's like I feel a closeness to him now, and it's a good thing, it's joyful, it is, but it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there.
I do every once in a while. Whether it's just Andrew and I, or if I'll still tell stories like, oh yeah, your Uncle Buddy used to do this, or when your Uncle Buddy was holding you one time, he did this or that, and sometimes they're crazy Uncle Buddy stories, and
because he was nuts.
And Mateo would go, really? I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
yep, yeah. But I try to, because it's, the kids were young, and they knew him for, however many years. It's been 6 years, 5 years. I can't remember.
It'll be 6 years.
Okay.
September.
Yeah. So, Mateo was 8 or 9 and Lillian was 4 or 5. And so the short amount of time, and I think about it too, because there was a time where I didn't let him come around because I was worried and I was scared. And
which was totally right. Yeah, that's what you felt at the time. It was your children, and they got to come first. They do. And there was a time when I didn't want him around the house.
Yeah. So I do like to tell him, and pictures will pop up. There's one that always pops up where he's sitting on both the kids are sitting on his lap in our house, and he's showing them something on their phone or something. They're all three of their heads are like right here looking at this little phone and stuff. But it is, but I don't get that. There's a different relationship that I have with him because I'm his brother. So it doesn't come as often, but it's the same thing. I think there was a time last year where I called Mom early in the morning on my way to work, and I can't remember what I was listening to. I was listening to something, I think it was like about two brothers or something. And I was just
told me about it.
crying. I'm like, where? She's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I needed to talk to somebody, And so it comes every once in a while. But
the love is there.
It's weird, yeah.
Although you were this kind of person, that was really responsible. I had to do it, and he was totally a different guy at the other end of the spectrum, and that was what was going on. It had nothing to do with love or anything.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention his funeral. I couldn't speak.
Oh, yeah.
I handled it with a little bit of humor because I talked to a couple of people and I was trying to be funny and stuff, but I couldn't speak. But if it were today, I think I would say things like I would go up in front of people and say my son was an addict. And the sad part is that that's all a lot of people are going to know about him, and he's gone forever, and they'll never know the other parts, the parts that you remember, some of them, and the parts raising him, and what kind of kid he was, and what kind of person he was, and he was really hardworking. He was helpful. He was really street smart. He wasn't afraid to go anywhere. He could find a job like nothing. A good thing, because he would lose him like nothing. Yeah. But he wasn't afraid of anything, and all those things, and. What helps me is memories like I was working a lot of overtime, and I think that he was like maybe 15 or 14 or 15, and I came home, and I was working days. Mom made me work days because of you guys, and it was already dusk a little bit, getting dark, and he runs to the truck. It was over at Teal. And he said, I hung up the lights, and I could see the lights were lit up, the Christmas lights. And I don't know if people know about nails, what sizes they come in, but they're in like 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Well, and the bigger the number, the bigger the nail.
Yeah.
Well, he had like 14, size 14 or 16 nails up there. They were like probably like 7, 8 inches long. And he had hammered him right on the roof, on top of the roof, through the shingles. And I got home, and he was starting to have a lot of failures. He was having a lot of trouble at St. John's at the time, and I wanted to lift him up a little bit because he had been struggling. But I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to plug all those holes. But I told him some good things, I told him, wow, that's it looks so nice, it's amazing, and he was just beaming, I think of those memories because that day, and I wasn't a lot with him because we struggled. I was trying to save him too, but that day I was a good dad. That day, I was a really good dad.
Well, you were a good dad a lot of days, Dad. So hopefully thinking like you don't think that you were a bad dad, because you weren't. And as being a dad now, I know there are bad days, but that doesn't make you a bad dad.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you'll get to the age once you get old. You'll still have regrets. You'll still have regrets, and you think about it. It's good to hear that. And I wanted to read this.
Yeah, I want to finish. We'll finish. I want to finish with that. So,
okay.
Yep. We'll be wrapping up here, but I think it'd be cool to finish the podcast with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are. I mean, I think about it now too, where I see a picture of Lillian or Mateo when they're a baby, and I know exactly what that memory is, and I remember, like, not all the time, but I remember exactly what I said or did. I'm like, God, I could have done something different there,
Yeah.
But you're just acting how you're acting. Like, you can't help it. Hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Yeah, and your brain goes there because you love them so much,
Yeah.
And as you get older, it's different kind of love. You guys are growing up and everything, and you tend to crave those moments. So that in turn intensifies the regrets. Mm-hmm. When like you say, everything was good, and you don't remember anything. The kind of dad I was a good dad, and it's good to hear those things, because it does intensify as you get older.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate you talking about all this. Like I said at the beginning, I think it's obviously good for us. Misty and Martino will listen to this and probably learn some things too, and I think that'll be cool. But it's selfishly, like, this is for my kids. Like, I want them to hear all these things too, and know what was going on and understand it, whether they listen to it tomorrow or when it comes out, or whether they listen to it 10 years from now and they decide they want to do it.
Especially because I'm so old.
Yeah. Who knows what's going to happen? But I do want to finish with this poem. What is this? What is this poem?
Well, this I would have said this at his memorial too. If I had gotten a hold of it, and I'd like to say that I discovered it when I was doing research on medieval poetry.
How does one get?
But
medieval poetry.
It's out there. Reality is, I saw it in a limited series on Netflix.
Okay. Hey, art is everywhere.
And originally, it was attributed to a philosopher, an 11th century poet and philosopher named Yehuda Halevi. But come to find out that when I delve into it more, that it's falsely attributed to him. Something, channels got crossed somewhere. It was actually written by Rabbi Chaim Stern from Brooklyn.
Okay.
That passed away in 2001.
Okay.
And I would have read this at Buddy's memorial if I would have had it. It's called "'Tis a Fearful Thing." 'Tis a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, to hope, to dream, to be and oh, to lose. A thing for fools, this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me. Your laugh once lifted me. Your word was give to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death can touch. Man, I just love this. You like it?
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good. You read it good too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I like to think I'm pretty good myself.
Yeah, you're a good dude. All right. Well,
I don't know why I said that.
You're good.
Yeah.
All right, Dad. Well, thanks again for saying all this and for being my dad. And I love you.
Yeah, I love you too, and it was great. And you know what? Thank you for having me on the podcast. Maybe we'll do it again in another 300 episodes.
Yeah.
And this minute is the best minute of my life.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
Thanks for downloading this episode of the Nerdball Podcast. If you want to reach out or be on the show, just search the Nerdball Podcast on any social media. If you want to email us, that is thenerdballpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, there's always YouTube, so you can go on there, subscribe to the Nerdball Podcast, and watch the podcast every week. As always, thanks to Real JP Multimedia, Cuddlefish Graphics, Big Daddy Graphics, and Perrysburg Junior High STEM Lab for always supporting the podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.